Today we are going to chop wood. So to start, let's select everything and delete, press K and turn on Smart Join, add, turn off guides, I don't need to see them, and let's add a blank object and call it wood. Let's expand our menu. I'm just going to draw a almost straight line like this. Press K and turn on spin and change the axis to Z. And switch to user perspective. Let's turn off volume and loop and turn on caps. Now that kind of looked okay earlier, but it actually probably wasn't. Press K to set that, and I'm also going to create a tiny little branch or a stub. Let's draw a short stroke like this. Press K and let's reset to operator defaults. And for this I'm going to use lines only. And also I'm going to turn off Smart Join. So this way we have a proper boolean. And now, since this is going to be some kind of a branch, let's add a little bevel to this joint section. Let's turn on bevel and turn on bevel new. And let's increase the bevel as far as it will accept. And I can see that some other edges also getting caught by the bevel, so let's increase the tolerance, something like that. And let's push it some more, see how far it will go. Let's not cross that edge. And also let's add a few more segments. We also get a bevel at the tip. And for that, again, let's go back to camera view. Press K to set it. And this time I'm going to switch back to extrude and turn on remove and cut through. And let's create a shape like this. Press K and go to user view. There's bevel is applied again, and this time let's turn it off. Let's add a bit more detail to this so that it'll look a bit more realistic maybe. Start, I'm going to front view, go to camera view, press K. Let's start by resetting everything. When in doubt, reset the presets. I'm going to cut a little angled section from the top so that it doesn't look so perfect. Something like this, just a little angle. And press K and click on remove and cut through. And if you switch to user perspective, here's a new cut so that it's not a perfect 90-degree angle. Now let's press K to set that. And next I'm going to put some cracks on this thing, as all natural wood eventually develop as they dry slowly. So for that I'm going to shift right click on the top section and then press Alt multiplication sign, or alternatively you can also use Alt right click and open our camera controls menu and choose align camera to surface like this and switch to camera view. Because of the angle we have a slight rotation thing. If it is bothering you, you can press Alt right click and choose camera swivel, and you can adjust the camera angle just to somewhere you are more comfortable with. And next I'm going to draw some cracks. I'll do something like this. Press K, turn off cut through, turn on lines only, and that's a pretty thick line, so let's reduce the thickness just to something like this. Turn on even spacing so we have a bit more definition to this line, and also let's expand this section and turn on taper. And now you might occasionally get artifacts. I'll show you quickly how easy it is to fix. We have a start and end for line objects. So if you just increase the start and reduce to end, suddenly you see our shape. I'm going to switch to user perspective so you can see what's going on. The reason we couldn't see these things earlier is because of the perfect point that these lines make and both ends, and it happens to line perfectly just with the polygon face, and that's really always bad news when it comes to booleans. And also if the line still is too coarse, we can reduce the simplification a bit, something like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is reduce the line resolution, because this is supposed to be a crack, not this wormhole. So push it all the way back to 0. And if you turn on the guides, you can see what's going on here. It's actually 4-edged circular line. Just doesn't have enough definition to be a circle. So here's one of the cracks. And now that we have our settings like this, go to camera view and I can draw a few more. Draw and press K. For variety, you can also increase or decrease the line thickness. That's going a little too far. I'm going to manually type 0.005. Just halt that. And this is pretty much what it looks like. And by the way, there's actually a circular guide that you could use. I deliberately didn't want to use it because, like everything else, too much of a perfection always ruins the illusion of natural. And let's turn this on. And now, next step, I'm going to add a few more cracks on the sides. And for that, we are going to use our new snap tools. Shift right click to position the cursor onto one of these edges and press Alt right click and align camera to edge. And if I switch to user perspective, you'll see what's going on. Now the canvas is aligned to the edge, but this is not how I want to align it. I'll explain in a minute. Leave the cursor where it is and press Alt right click again. Let's try align camera to edge front. This is not it either. Let's try one more time. Alt right click and align camera to edge right. Okay, this is it. Now I'll switch to camera view and I'm going to draw a little crack like this. Press K, turn on remove and cut through. Oh, lines on. Turn on extrude, or again, as I keep saying, when in doubt, restore the defaults. Let's switch to user perspective and see what it looks like. So, you know what I'm doing right now. It's a nice crack going across. And let's do the same with a few more other edges. Alt, right click, align camera to edge right. Switch to user cam and draw another one. Maybe we can put another little crack there. Let's do the same. Alt, right click, camera to edge right. Okay. I think that was too thin. Didn't take. Let's put a deeper cut here. Press K. K. And I'm going to just keep on doing this. Let's switch to user cam. See what it looks like. Not bad. These are pretty nice looking cracks. Let's turn off the wireframe. Yeah. And let's continue. And let's see if we can do the same with this little stop here. Shift right click. I guess it didn't take. Let's Control Z. Sometimes it happens if the lines overlap themselves. Same thing here, Control Z. Let's draw that shape again. Maybe a little larger piece. Okay. Now let's do the same for the bottom and right click there, Alt multiplication sign, press 0. I won't bother aligning the camera at this point. Actually, let me show you, since we are here, how to use some of these guides. If you turn guides on and expanded, circular is the top one. It's already selected. So I'm going to position the cursor as central as possible and draw strokes like this. Let's see if we can get all that in one go. Press K. Let's reset everything first. Turn off guides, smart join. Turn off cut through. Switch to lines only. Reduce the thickness. Expand. Turn on taper. increase the start and reduce the end, turn on even spacing for more definition, exactly the same way what we did earlier, and reduce simplification so that we get more definition on these lines, and reduce the line resolution to 0. Actually, this actually doesn't look too bad, so I'm going to continue drawing this section using that. And let's draw a few more. Because of we are in the object color mode, everything is black and white, but that's fine. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, not bad. Alright, let's do what we did earlier. Let's put some extra cracks the same way we did. Oh! Undo. Turn off the guides. We just want regular freehand strokes. Thank you very much. Let's reset everything. I'll cut all the way through. For variety's sake, make some cracks deeper and bigger than others, because this is a real dry piece of wood. And let's switch to user perspective and see what this looks like. We are actually looking at the bottom part of this wood. Okay, not so bad. Maybe a few more here and there is all we need. Let's continue. Switch to camera view. Let's put another one there. Okay. I like our wood. And let's turn on the overlays. Go to front view. Looking through the camera view. Press D and let's draw a stroke like this. Press K and turn on knife. Turn off volume and loop. I'm just going to add a few edges like this. Okay, if you're wondering why I did that, we're going to use another tool on this for lumber. And next, press K to set this. Let's reset everything again. And this time turn on cage. Looking through the camera, let's draw a shape like this. Just wide enough to include the entire piece of wood. And press K. Let's look through our user perspective. Do I need that? Let's increase the extrusion. I have symmetry on, but the canvas wasn't in a symmetrical position. No big deal. Let's slide this over, since this is the y-axis. Let's slide it over so that the entire piece of wood is enclosed. I need a bit more definition on these sides. Let's try a few things. Turn on faces and turn on edge subdivide. Okay, that's not bad at all. We also have a new option here in case you haven't noticed, Remesh. You can turn on Remesh to get something that looks more like a lattice, something like that. And I think this is actually pretty good. I'm going to keep this. Okay, now that we are happy with that, click bind, click OK. And there should be a slight delay. That means things are working right. And now the cage and the object is bound together. We are now in object mode. Select the cage, press tab to go to edit mode, and turn on X-ray so that we don't miss any back-facing vertices. And I'm going to do some slight deformations on this object so that it doesn't look so perfectly cylindrical. Like that. There's no need to go crazy over this. That's just enough. And let's go back to object mode, turn off X-ray, and yeah, I kind of like it. Doesn't look too bad, slightly cartoony, which is what I was hoping for. Oh, by the way, since we are deforming this using the cage object, if you go into object data properties with the cage object selected, we can animate our deformation. We can actually hide the cage, we don't need to see it. In fact, I think I'm going to make a few more adjustments. With this value pushed all the way to 1, this is the first keyframe we have. Go back to edit mode, and since we want a little bit of a cartooniness to this, select the section, and I'm going to scale it down a tad like this, so the bottom part is slightly narrower than the top. Press G. That curvature is a little too much. Okay, let's go back to object mode, hide this. Yeah, I think I like this. There it is. Here's our piece of wood, and the next step is to chop it. Let's select our wood object, press K again, and click Apply Cage. Just in case, I'm going to make a copy of it, so Shift D. We don't need to move it anywhere, and I'm going to hide it. So we have a backup. And here's our original mesh object, or the grease pencil object selected, doesn't matter. Press K again, and let's Shift right click somewhere at the top here. I'm going to press Alt 7 to go to top view, press 0. Now we're going to start chopping this piece of wood. Draw a stroke like this, going through the wood, press K again, and turn off cage. In fact, let's restore the defaults. We made far too many changes. Turn off guides, smart on. Remove and cut through can stay. Turn off volume and loop. And click slice thickness. And I'm going to turn on guides again to show you what's going on here. Basically, that stroke we drew became this thin slice object, cutting the wood straight down. Let's go back to camera view again. I'll throw another one. Press K. Those of you who had seen the custom presets video will recognize this tool. We actually created this before and stored it, named slash. So I'm using the slash tool, basically. Let's slash it a few more places. Maybe like this. Okay, so let's go to front view, go to user perspective, and here's our piece of wood. And here comes a really fun bit. Press K again with either the wood or the grease pencil object selected. Right at the bottom of the menu we have this button named Separate and Simulate. Click that once, turn on Rigid Body Simulation, and turn on Add Ground Object. And the rest of the settings are perfect. Even the timber material is selected. And press OK. This added a new ground object, separated all the loose parts, and simulated them. So let's go to frame 1. I'm also going to turn off the grease pencil object so we don't have to keep looking at those grease pencil strokes. And press play. Here it is. Fine, except that of course no one really chops wood that way. Let's pretend that we chop this wood and then pile them somewhere neatly. Let's select all the pieces of wood, go to side view. I'm going to rotate all these with a slight angle so that they fall in a random way when they hit. Let's run the simulation again. Not bad. Let's make some alterations. I want the pile a bit more tidy, so select any one of the pieces, press K again, don't touch any other controls, press Separate and Simulate. We no longer need this ground object. It doesn't matter if you leave it on, but let's turn it off. And I'm going to increase the friction. The reason I'm doing this is so that slices of wood doesn't slide across each other so much. And I guess everything else is fine. Press OK again. Let's go to first frame. Okay, that's a better pile, if you ask me. Here it is. Turn this off. We'll make it look like a 1930s movie. Here's a nice pile of wood. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you next time.